welcome to you, Paralympic Winter Games fans. We are back at the Cortina Curling Olympic Stadium. That's it in your picture. Magnificent stadium, full of fans. Built for the 1956 Olympic Winter Games. In those days it was for skating, but today, and we have well and truly moved in with curling instead. It is session 3 of the wheelchair curling event. It is the 4-person discipline. And we have a clash of the titans today. It is perennial achievers, Canada. They will be playing Great Britain. And as you can see, Canada's played won their first game. Britain has played 2. That's because we have 10 teams in the competition and 4 sheets, so 8 teams play at once. The draw is slightly staggered. And a Canada-Britain lineup in any discipline, always a tasty one. And I think we are in for a treat in this 3rd session. Canada have never failed to get a medal at Paralympic Winter Games in this discipline. Truly, there is really no other team that comes close to them in terms of consistent success. We will be discussing that and lots more during the game today. Here's all our competing nations. We have 10 countries qualified for this 4-person wheelchair curling event. And there is your team. So it's actually going right to left. Lead thrower is Colinda Joseph. Second thrower, Ina Forrest. Third thrower, John Thurston. And fourth and skip is Mike Idison. Teams all being introduced to the crowd. And their opposition today, it will be the team from Great Britain. And going from left to right. Lead thrower is Karen Aspey. Second thrower, Austin McKenzie. Third thrower, Stuart Pimblett. Fourth and skip is Hugh Blow.
On sheet D, Canada
versus the team there. That's their record so far. We've had a couple of extra ends already in the competition. That just shows you the strength and depth of the teams. Only 10 countries qualified. And more than 20 countries now competing at world level in wheelchair curling. As the standings, as we said, the draw slightly staggered. Not everyone plays at the same time. It is Sweden. Last time silver medalists are on top. Both Great Britain and Canada on 1 win each. One of those teams will go to 2 wins today. But whoever wants that win is going to have to battle hard for it. There is Nicholas Moore, team coach for the Canadian team. Interact with your coach now. Just keeping hydrated there. It's Niall Ryder sitting next to curling legend Sheila Swan. Niall and Sheila are the team and national coach respectively for wheelchair curling in Britain. Ice conditions looking lovely. The ice crews, they're really working round the clock these days. An arena, always more difficult to control the conditions. You have audience coming in and out. Well, the ice has been looking lovely all competition. And it will be Karen Aspey starting us off. The British team wearing white uniforms and throwing yellow stones. Canadian team wearing red uniforms and throwing red stones.
4:38.
Good. It's good, Karen. Nice, Karen.
And that is a lovely start from Karen Aspey.
It's okay.
Fairly conservative start. Let's just put a stone in the house. Let's see what Canada does. Canada could do something similar, or Canada could try to remove it. And that will tell the British team what kind of mood Canada is in today. First throw of her game for Belinda Joseph. And indeed, the call is to remove that British stone.
It's on 5.
That tells us very early on
5.
that potentially both teams in a conservative mood. And oftentimes that really just shows you the respect that the two teams have for each other. If both teams are keen to be conservative, keen to be defensive, don't want to leave stones lying around, that kind of shows you the respect they have for each other. They believe that if there are lots of stones in play, stones lying around, they believe that their opposition can take advantage of that and get a big score. And I'm not surprised that these two teams have a lot of respect for each other. Canada and Great Britain
I like 13.
played each other
T-line.
time and time again over the years. Two of the big heavyweights in curling. Curling invented in Britain and Scotland. And then the people from Scotland who moved to Canada took it with them. An early mistake from Britain. Ooh, lovely throw from Belinda Joseph just to capitalise on that. You can see on the graphic at the bottom, the little hammer is next to the Canadian flag. That means it is Canada who have last stone in this first end. They'll bring down the hammer. How do we decide that? Well, both teams have a short practice before the game begins today. And at the conclusion of that practice,
Austin, reset.
two of the teammates throw a stone each. One throws the curl anti-clockwise, one throws the curl clockwise, and whichever team cumulatively is next to closest to the centre, they get last stone. That was Canada, and you just saw there the British skip through Niblo just putting in his hands in an X above his head. That means a technical timeout. That means there is something, maybe the stone handle is a bit wobbly, or it looks like he maybe has an issue with his chair, actually. That's potentially more difficult to fix. What that means is the thinking time that the players have there. You can see both teams have a little clock next to them on the scoreboard. But we stop the thinking time.
Where's the spring? Is it on the ice? Is it on the ice?
The technical timeout is if it's a non-curling related issue, let's say, or a non-game related issue. One that's frustrating for Austin McKenzie. We will pause the game until he gets that fixed. But yeah, just disturbs the rhythm a little bit. They've had a practice, both teams ready to play.
His cue's back there, so.
Yeah, that's just disturbs a little bit the concentration and focus on the game for Austin McKenzie. Looks like he just had a small issue, maybe with the brake on his chair.
Always interesting.
But it looks like they're going off to fix it, and yeah, we'll simply pause the game.
Maybe.
Until we get a solution.
Yeah, it's probably not the best idea.
That happened in 2022 first game.
Canadian fans, they will feel very
I know
confident,
that, but I
and
think
rightly
probably
so.
preference that you don't want to play in your own chair because it's expensive.
Canada, they have won a medal at every edition of wheelchair curling since it was introduced in 2006. They won gold in that inaugural event. It wasn't this team, but They won gold. They won gold again in 2010 and 14, and that was with several members of this team. Past 2 editions, they have won bronze. They have always made it to the podium.
No, they're not there.
We may need to sweep them.
I think we're just going to double hold.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much dirt at the village here. It's getting hot up in the breeze.
I'm not fully sure what the solution is here, or the conclusion. Looks like Austin Mackenzie's back in the ice. That's good news. In an emergency, you could potentially
Are you going to take these through or not?
borrow your teammate's chair, but yeah, you don't really want to have to be using someone else's chair. That would really feel a bit strange.
Shug, you're going to have to time and rotate, yeah?
Sorry?
You're going to have to time and rotate.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're going to double hold.
I don't know about
We're double holding.
all the specifications are different. We've got different reference points. And
Stuart Pimblett then just saying they're going to double hold. What he means is that instead of one teammate
so how does
supporting
that work for the old chair, Michelle?
Austin Mackenzie
Can-
as
when-
he's
when-
throwing,
When he switches chairs, can he get his old one and his usual one back?
would be both of them. And you see both the team coach and the national coach there just
Or
asking
would
what
you
solutions
prefer?
could we
Would you
have.
like to sit in a different chair?
Sorry, excuse me.
Both teams just keen to get on with the game here. Both teams just looking to find a good solution.
Yeah,
You're on the right.
I might hold the right, yeah.
Wherever you want.
Are you still staying on after one?
Reset us.
Just want to know that attention, eh, Justin?
So the Canadians patiently waiting. Yeah, it really disrupts both teams.
Where's the
Neither
other
team
guys,
really
Michelle?
wants any
You know
sort
where
of
the
issue
most
with the
people are
chair
now?
or their equipment. It looked like, yeah, potentially there was an issue with the brake on Austin Mackenzie's chair. That's why he has both teammates now supporting. Make sure he's not going to slip. So this is an unfortunate start for Great Britain. That's not ideal.
Right behind.
Get a spare chair.
It's a wee bit like having an issue with your shoes. If you're a foot player, you break a shoelace or a little piece comes off your slider or something. But good job, team. That looked like a nice smooth delivery, so we are back underway.
96.
And well done you, Austin Mackenzie. Not easy to have an issue with your equipment, then just get back into the game, focus and deliver a nice stone like that. So
3-5, yeah.
well done to him. Let's hope that doesn't put him off for the rest of the game. So, back in the swing of things. That lady on your screen, Ina Forrest, surely the most decorated curler in the wheelchair game. And she must make a case for being one of the most decorated curlers of all time.
4-0.
3-8.
She has played in, this is her 5th Paralympic Winter Games. She has played
5
in
inches
7
short.
World Championships.
That's on 5.
Nice on 5.
And she has won medals in all of them.
14.
Yeah, 387.
They've jammed in now.
Yeah, just jam in and then I'll line up.
As I said, truly, there's really no team in the competition that even comes close to
No.
the record of
Tiny.
this Canadian team.
All good.
Britain need to not be intimidated. They've got a positive start to their campaign as well. really a great recovery from Austin Mackenzie there. Big distraction for him. Just having a small technical issue there. Super recovery from him. Hopefully that settled his nerves.
13.5.
There we are. No more reds. No more points.
Yeah, 4 more feet than what
Good job, sir.
T-line. Three.
That is nice from Ina Forrest. A little bit faster, a little bit heavier than she wanted. You can see that the nibble immediately just tapping that area in front of the stone just thrown by Ina Forrest.
Show left time.
Yeah.
There is space for Stuart Pimblett to get a yellow stone right on top of that.
Cheers, good.
Tiny. Yeah.
Like, even if we're putting on like another break. All right.
Two teammates in your picture there. You can just about see Karen Aspey's head. There she is, just supporting her teammate as he throws. Big milestone for them. They are the first 2 people coming through English curling to represent Great Britain in the 4-person format. Curling is one of those sports where most of the time it is the home countries on the road, so Scotland, England, Wales.
Mine's straighter. My
The
rock is
Republic of
straighter.
Ireland and Northern Ireland, they play together in curling as well, like you do in rugby. And historically, it has been teams made up of curlers from Scottish curling who have typically made the standard. So big congratulations to Stuart Pimblett and Karen Aspey coming through English curling and representing here on the highest stage of all. As we thought though, a cagey start here, conservative stuff. Neither team really wanting to give their opposition a chance to build up stones here.
13.5.
13.5.
And this is exactly what I would do as well. I would also have great respect for either of these teams. And I would also favour, just keep it simple here in this first end. A bit of target practice for Stuart Pimblett.
4:48.
An empty house, but that's going to come up a little bit short. And the tolerance for that shot was
Yeah.
long before short. That just gives a guard that Canada can also use now.
3-5.
You like that ice, John?
3-5.
3-3.
My out too. Should curl a little more than irons.
Good throw.
John Thurston in your screen. 23rd at this competition. A very consistent team, the 4 Canadians, but yeah, sometimes they've played in a slightly different constellation. We've seen John Thurston throwing 4th stones. But here at Paralympic Winter Games, at least in this game, it is Mark Idison throwing 4th, and that little stone from John Thurston just hanging on by its fingernails at the back there. If any part of the stone is touching any part of the circle, that's in.
Yeah, I think so. But you'll probably get away quickish. It's probably a little more weight.
And if at the conclusion of the end, if you're not sure if a stone is in or not, there is a special measuring device for that. It's called the 6-foot measure.
975.
curling being around long before the metric system. And the radius of the circles is 6 feet. And if the 6-foot measuring device, if it touches the stone, it's in. If it doesn't touch the stone, it's out. But Huneblo intending to make sure that the stone is out before then. First throw of session 3 for the skipper from the British team.
10.
And that's exactly what he wanted. It did look like that stone was certainly inside the circles there, but no more.
Is it quick down here?
Probably my draw to the button. Oops. Like 2-1, 2-12.
Maybe just a hair more. Thinking like 3-3, eh?
Yeah.
3-5?
3-5.
First throw of the
Two down
session
here
for
now.
Canadian skip, and fourth thrower, Idison.
2-15?
Yeah, no, 2-5. 2-15 next week. Even 2-20.
Just a bit of target practice for the Canadians. They're just trying to get shots into the house, into the rings. Ask the question of Great Britain, give them a target. This is always nice to just have an opportunity to draw to an empty house. And just try to find that good weight. That's a lovely weight that Idison has thrown. As you can see, though, that's the view that Huneblo will see, and that throw from Mark Idison not quite finding cover. You can see it, to try to remove it.
Tidy. Yeah.
Final throw of the first end for Huneblo. The rest of his team not so experienced as he is, but Hugh, a veteran of multiple World Championships and previous Paralympic Winter Games. The team will be looking to his experience in those. And now we have an interesting situation.
I think this, well, you get on with the outside edge, or here you go inside. Let's go the other way to get it on. You like that way, Mark?
Yeah.
That's what Mark Idison sees. That little red just out front, it's not in the rings at the moment. There are a couple of things Canada could do. They could just throw this stone away and say, you know what, we want to take 0 points. That would be a blank end, and there are advantages to doing that. It would be quite easy for Mark Idison to simply play the same kind of shot he threw before. And just get one stone into play, score 1 point, but what he's trying to do here is just catch the edge of this red. Oh, he's not quite connected, but you can see how close that red is out front. And the idea of that shot was a split. He wanted to just catch the edge of the red real close to the rings there. And he would just punch that red forward a little bit, rolling himself, and then he could get 2.
That's not fun.
I think you had to hit more. You had to hit like a third of a rock.
Good effort from him.
You had to hit it down.
But interestingly, the blank is actually a better idea for Canada than scoring 1, and we'll come back to that. But after the first end, it is a blank end. It is Canada-Britain, 0 each. As we predicted then, conservative stuff in this first end. Canada just putting a couple shots in the house, Britain just removing them. wise attempt at a split, try to get 2 stones out of 1 from Canada, but not quite finding that connection, and it will be a blank end. From our perspective then, as you were, the situation is pretty much the same as in the first end. No score. It is Canada who have the last stone advantage, the little hammer there, still next to their flag. And we saw Canada trying to split that front stone in to try to score 2 in the first end, and I said that actually a score of 0 was the next best. The options were scoring 2 with a perfect stone, scoring 1 quite easily with just landing 1 stone in the rings, or scoring 0 on purpose. Now, why is scoring 0 on purpose? That's a blank end. Why is that actually a better idea than scoring 1? Well, curling tactics for dummies. At this level, these guys don't miss too many shots. So if you have the last stone advantage, then you can pretty much score 1 point with that 1 last stone whenever you like. And that means we can kind of think of scoring 1 point with your 1 last stone. We can kind of think of that as the default. And as we said, Mark Edison, he could easily have done that. But if you do that for 8 ends, you would score 1. Then last stone advantage would be with your opposition. They would score 1. Then it comes back to you. You would score 1, etc. And at the conclusion of 8 ends, you would have 4 points each.
975.
So if you want to win the game, you have to do a bit more than that. You can't rely on scoring only 1 point with your 1 last stone, and you need to try to set up a situation and get some misses from your opposition. Try to score more than 1. And that is why I said that a score of 0 actually was the better idea for Canada. So Canada retain last stone. They still have that hammer because nobody scored in the first end. That means that Canada has a second chance in this second end to try to score more than 1 with last stone in this second end. And Karen Aspey just missing that stone there, over curling her shot.
3-3.
Karen's 12-7 was...
And see, once it hits that centre line, it really wants to curl away from the centre line. And that is an early chance then for Canada to get a second red in the house.
Slightly.
This looks pretty nice from Belinda Joseph. Keep going. That's not going to make it, but the tolerance for that shot was shorter rather than longer. That's a guard that Canada can use later on.
It's a good outcome.
Well, I had to go in a little quicker than that.
Austin McKenzie, though, just being asked to remove that stone that is currently in the rings. We say that stone is lying short. That means it's the closest to the centre, currently in scoring position. That is nice from Austin McKenzie.
I think 3-5 is a good number, Ryan.
Well, this is looking a bit familiar. We had a similarly conservative start in end 1. 1 or 2 stones out front, just
And they're solid.
1 stone here and there in the rings. And did you see this more often in wheelchair
3-0,
curling
good job.
than potentially in the men's or women's game with the foot curlers?
Great job.
And I think that's partly because the wheelchair game is just newer
Just tighten up and throw.
than
That's okay.
foot curling. Introduced to Paralympic Winter Games in 2006, wheelchair curling. And yeah, really since sort of the turn of the 2000s, wheelchair curling really starting to build. And yeah, it's just easier to play conservatively and defensively. So I think that's one reason, and also because the degree of difficulty for the same shot in wheelchair curling
Tight.
versus foot curling, the degree of difficulty in wheelchair curling, it's just higher. And why is that? It's because we don't have sweepers. It's the most obvious thing that one notices in wheelchair curling. You don't have sweepers, and that means that once that stone is released by Austin McKenzie, you cannot adjust it. You don't have sweepers, just helpfully keeping it on line or helpfully dragging it a little bit further.
1 rotation.
The right stones, the stone, but very same way.
Without sweepers,
Same
that makes
way.
the degree of
Same
difficulty
field line.
of every shot just that little bit harder.
They're just going with the downhill slope,
I
right?
think when you come off though, like it's gonna be first down. So
Okay.
I think same way too. It seems.
And to finish my thought there, that leads to a more conservative game as well.
Get off, son.
Ina Forrest here. The legend of wheelchair curling, legend of curling in general. She has done that beautifully.
Very good.
Again, remember guys, there's no sweeping in wheelchair curling. And that is a particularly good shot. It is a second red in the house, in the rings, and it's a particularly good shot because a double takeout here, so removing both those reds with 1 throw, very difficult.
That took a long time.
The closer the stones are horizontally,
Good.
the harder it is to remove both of them at once. And those stones quite far away from each other as well. And that's exactly what we shall see Canada try to do, just try to keep 2 red stones in play, far apart from each other, and try to avoid a double takeout.
Well done, Stuart.
Let's go the same turn.
Okay.
Normal.
And this is
9.
by far the simplest way to make 2 points.
Yeah.
That's why you'll sometimes hear this referred to as a junior 2. You put stones in the house, you wait for your opposition to miss, you put a second stone in, and you just exchange hits until you end up finally, hopefully, with 2 reds at the conclusion of the end.
Good throw, John.
This stone is really coming at pace. It needs to be accurate. It is. That's a good throw from John Thurston. And those 2 reds far away from each other. Good separation. Really nice hit and stick there. Good separation on the reds. Still not easy. It's slightly easier than before. The angle is a bit kinder to remove both with 1 throw, but we would call this an across the house double. So this stone aiming for one side, and then it has to spin all the way across the centre line to the other side to get rid of both of them.
4-9-8.
And it's going to curl or spin the other way, actually.
So 13-2, Josh.
doesn't change the outcome too much.
1
Either
on 9's going this way.
Okay.
Canada would
Think 13-5, 13-2?
Yeah, 13-25.
Either Canada would simply play the same shot again. If there was a yellow, they would hit the yellow and stick the red. Or if there's no yellow in the house, then they would simply draw, so just land another stone in the rings.
Good line, John.
You can see a lot of the players, they have a temporary removable handle on their chair. Just a gripper or so, and that just helps keep them stable and balanced while they're throwing. That's a fine throw from John Thurston. There we are, the red's very close horizontally. You see they're very flat together. Canadian fans, rightly, very happy with the start from their team. And that means it's difficult to get rid of both of these reds. They're far away from each other. They're very close horizontally. Very difficult to remove them with one throw. But all of these guys, you can play with your day-to-day chair. You don't need any adjustment. So if you're a wheelchair user, or you have a friend or colleague, and they would like to try curling, you absolutely can. You don't need any adjustment to your everyday chair. These guys have their own delivery stick, but the curling club, they also have delivery sticks you can use. So again, just the one for Hugh Niblo. And sometimes you just have to accept that you've been outplayed and you are going to lose a couple of points.
How's that, Broom?
I think so.
And yeah, if you or your friend are interested in going to the curling club, you don't even need to have a dedicated wheelchair curling club. There obviously are dedicated clubs and dedicated wheelchair competitions. But I know people who are the only wheelchair player at their club. And at the club level, everyone can play together. As we said, there is a difference at this level. The degree of difficulty of shots for wheelchair players, it's simply higher. But at the club,
Center full.
that difference doesn't really come into play very much, and
Little
it's
down
very
road.
normal that you have wheelchair players, non-wheelchair players playing for and against each other. Indeed, if I wasn't able to play a game for my club team, and I said that one of our colleagues who's a wheelchair player, if I said they were going to come and play the game for me, nobody would even remark on this. So it's truly a highly inclusive activity. And you don't need any special equipment. Your day-to-day chair is fine. The club has everything else you'd need. Go ahead and call. So a let-off for Britain then. We saw the first throw from Mark Idison here in the second end, not connecting.
3 1/4, 10-5.
And well done indeed to the British team. Just doing the simple things well, the British team thinking, okay, we may get a chance to neutralise this end, we may not. And finally, they did have a chance. And Hugh Niblo
Probably a
making
touch more.
no mistake, neutralising that Canadian attack very well.
How's that?
Good.
So an early mistake from Great Britain gave the momentum in this end to Canada, but then a late mistake from Canada swung the momentum all the way back. And you can see 1-2 yellows. Again, not easy to make a double takeout here. Not easy to blank the end, score 0 on purpose. And it will be Britain who will feel happier at the conclusion of this second end.
Center solid.
Making the most of a bit of a missed throw from Mark Idison with his first throw. And that is too high for that sort of shot. He needed that red to hang around. And in fact, that will be a steal to Great Britain. That means they get points even though they didn't have last stone. That little yellow on the left of our screen, that is going to score 1 point for Britain.
I like how you threw that.
Yeah, I really like that throw. Just keep throwing them like that.
Well,
We'll see in the break.
it was looking like Canada all the way in that second end, but a late mistake. Britain making no mistake, and they steal 1 point. They lead Canada 1-0.
Yeah.
Just
So it was an early error from Great Britain. Allowed 2 Canadian stones to be hanging around for much of the end. But yeah, Mark Idison having an end to forget there, and that was 1-0 to Britain. That's the situation. After the second end, it is Britain who stole a point. They got a point even though they didn't have last stone. You can see that confirmed on the scoreboard, and that means the little hammer in the graphic stays with Canada. It was Britain who got points, so last stone goes to the opposition who didn't get points. That means it stays with Canada. And same again for Great Britain. That's nice from Karen Aspey. Still the conservative approach, which for me, I think that's the correct approach here. Still early doors. We play 8 ends in wheelchair curling. We may see the tactics switching up to become a bit more aggressive in the second half, but it's still very early. Just the third end. So I think the conservative approach is best for now. So does Canada, by the look of it. Strong push from Belinda Joseph. And use that yellow and sticks the edge herself. Very nice. And that is another reason that the degree of difficulty for shots in wheelchair curling is simply higher than the degree of difficulty for the same shot for a foot curler. You could see Belinda Joseph there giving that a nice strong push, but all of that power has to come from upper body strength only in the wheelchair game. And for foot players, I'm a foot player and I'm not a wheelchair user. And all of my strength and power for a shot typically comes from leg drive. You've got your big leg muscles getting all that power, and for the wheelchair players, all that power needs to come from upper body strength, and that is another reason, just increases that degree of difficulty. So exchanging hits here, like we said, still a conservative approach, still very early. Neither team wants to have too many stones in play here in the third end and risk getting into a bit of a muddle. Bit of a one for the purists. This is not so entertaining for the audience.
Oh, got on you.
Centered it slightly in.
She doesn't like that one, Kalinda.
All right.
Well, we've seen this before. As soon as the stone hits that centre line, it really takes off on the curl. And yeah, she knew as soon as she'd thrown that Kalinda Joseph that it wasn't quite accurate. Here it comes, yeah. As soon as it hits that centre line, it wants to curl away from the centre line. And frustration there for Kalinda Joseph.
Front left. Yep.
And what's the best response from Great Britain? We have an early mistake from Canada. And the best response is to continue what they were doing. Great Britain throwing stones towards the centre. If Canada want to score points at all, then they have a pretty small area to do it. If they want to beat the yellow that's currently in the green circle, the 4-foot circle, then that path is starting to get blocked. And not so easy for Canada to get to the centre ahead of that yellow. And that's exactly why Great Britain are doing it.
Stands important there.
They do want to block Canada.
Good throw line.
And the Forest still being asked to just remove stones. This is still the right strategy for Canada. That's a nice throw from her. And if that red hangs around, it's going to be particularly nice. It does. That's a great throw from our 5-time Paralympian Ina Forrest.
Just as you put pressure on it, and you're just ready to throw. Yeah, takes that little, so be prepared, but move.
Very nice throw from Ina, removing the yellow and her own red rolling to the side.
No, that's not
Good result for her. Couple of options for Great Britain now. That was the correct choice. You can see what they were trying to do. They just wanted to remove that red. Just thrown by Ina Forrest. That was the right choice. The other option.
A little bit more weight too, I think. More weight.
Okay.
The other option would be same again. And try and put a guard, block in front of their own yellow. But that's a much higher risk shot. But as it turns out, Canada did get a mistake from Britain. And now we see similar kind of situation as we saw in the second end. But with a similar result, she didn't want to roll out there. Because now there's only one stone. And Stuart Pimblett will have a chance to clear that again. Yeah, I think Canada they're throwing a bit too much weight at this for my taste. They may be doing that because of the curl, as we know. They don't have sweepers in wheelchair curling. Once that stone's on its way, you cannot influence it like the sweepers can. And that could be why they're throwing these stones quite heavy, quite hard. But they're making life a little bit difficult for themselves in terms of hanging around. The faster the stone's going,
3 3/4, 9-9.
the more likely it is to spin out like this one.
Well done, Stu.
Guys, that was at their more ice and yours, and it's style.
More target practice then for the Canadian third thrower, John Thurston.
What?
A more defensive approach, more defensive tactics from both teams. Yeah, but really both teams very cagey out there.
4-5?
Neither team wants to give the other a chance to start building points. That's fairly expected or fairly acceptable in the first half of the game. At some point, though, someone is going to have to take the aggressive decision. If scores are tied after 8 ends, we will have an extra end. We must have a winner out there. In some curling competitions at this round-robin stage, so all 10 teams will play everyone else. 9 games per team in the round-robin. And in some competitions, you can end a game with scores level. You just get a draw. But not in this one. In this competition, each game, we need a winner. It doesn't matter if you win the game on the last throw of the extra end, or if you're winning 10 points to 2 and your opposition concedes the game early. It's 1 point if you win, no points if you lose.
3 3/4, 13-7.
Why did Britain do that? There is a guard stone out front. It's a red stone, but it's still a guard. Britain could have tried to throw a stone to the left of our screen, try to hide in behind that red instead. Why did they not do that? Well, it's because of the respect they have for this Canadian team. They do want to give Canada something to hit. They want to put a stone in the house there, but they want to keep Canada away from the guard. That's why they threw to the other side. Because you can see, to roll in accurately behind that guard from the other side of the sheet, not so easy. If your stone is already on that side of the sheet, in behind the guard, then that's a guard that Canada can use as well. So that's why we saw Great Britain going far away from the guard, challenge Canada to roll accurately from all the way over there behind the guard. And Canada not able to do that.
Nice smooth delivery, yeah.
So where are you thinking ice if it's shorter?
But it's that figuring out the spot you're watching.
Both teams on 1 win. One of these teams will go to 2 wins.
Cheers, good.
We are in session 3 out of 12 sessions here. As we said, 10 teams qualified.
Nice delivery.
4 sheets out there, so 8 teams per draw. Therefore, we need 12 sessions for everyone to play everyone else. So the maximum number of points you could end up with is 9. 9 wins, 0 losses.
13-8.
Typically 6 and 3, so 6 wins and 3 losses is the magic number that typically will qualify you for the next stage. The top 4 teams qualify for semi-finals. Team placed 1 is the team placed 4, 2 placed 3.
John was 8-9.
Yeah, and Max full.
And then we have the medal games. 7 wins. I have never seen a team fail to qualify with 7 wins out of 9. Same again from Britain, staying away from that guard.
Center solid.
The other option for Britain would be simply to remove that guard. That is the most defensive shot they could play. There we see the wisdom of that strategy from Britain. Canada has had a couple of looks at that path, but Canada not able to hit the yellow stone and roll themselves behind that guard because Britain deliberately played away from it. So Uniblo can see all of that red right in the centre, and he just has to remove it. Everyone sounds happy with that. That is a lovely throw from him. And I like where that yellow has rolled to as well.
You like it?
Just changing the angles a bit, changing the path that Mark Idison will have to throw.
I like the end.
It's slightly more difficult to hit a stone on the wings than right in the centre.
Scoring?
Same ice. You guys like taking one here?
Pardon me?
You like taking one here?
It's okay if you do, I think.
And you heard a little bit of discussion. Do we want to blank this end, so deliberately make 0 points, or we can also make 1 point, and I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah, I don't mind that either, actually. We are approaching the stage in the game where we're going to have to get on with this now. We can't be uber defensive for 8 ends. And that will be a point to Canada. Hit and roll right to the centre. 1 red. So after an incredibly conservative approach, it's 1 each between Canada and Britain. Similar style to the second end then. Very few stones in play. And a solid hit and roll to score 1 for Canada, bringing the score level, 1 each.
So I haven't seen much on this side. Yeah.
No, Mark's draw the button.
Okay.
And you can start to understand where
So,
the mixed doubles discipline came from. The game was becoming ridiculously conservative. The same thing happened in the 90s. That's where free guard zone came from as well. So for the first 5 stones in every end, we have free guard zone. So the stone always has to get over that green line. That's the hog line.
4-0. It's a good spot.
Everywhere in front of T-line, the thin horizontal line, but not in the ring. So exactly where Kalinda Joseph has put her stone.
Three's okay. Pardon me?
That stone cannot be removed. It's protected by free guard zone until 5 stones have been thrown. And that was also because in the 80s, a 10-end game was ending up with a score of 2-1.
Good.
And I think everybody was happy to bring in free guard zone. The game was getting crazily defensive. And you can see how mixed doubles was thought of as well. The whole idea of the mixed doubles format, which we've also been watching for the first time here in Cortina at Paralympic Winter Games. The whole point of mixed doubles was to keep stones in play. It's much more interesting for us viewers when there are lots of stones in play, lots of angles, lots of possibilities.
Normal.
Otherwise, not for our opponent.
Nevertheless, both teams will realise out there that we really can't keep this defensive for 8 ends. We're approaching halfway. They will have a half-time break, and then in the second half, I expect we will see a bit of a switch up in tactics. Somebody will have to be brave and go for the more aggressive approach. But neither team willing to be the brave one yet. Neither team keen on being more aggressive at this point. That's fine from Kalinda Joseph. Yeah, Canada still throwing too much weight at these for me. If they want these stones to hang around,
5-3's okay.
they either need to be pinpoint accurate with where they connect as they hit the stone out,
It's just a very...
or I think they need to reduce the weight a bit. They may be throwing high weight because the ice is very curly. So the faster the stone is traveling,
Good.
the less it will curl, either left or right. That could be why they're keeping the weight high here. But they're struggling a little bit to hang around after their hits, Canada.
Karen.
And Karen Aspey, she's really found her tee weight. Look at that, it's even touching that tee line. That is the halfway point through the rings. And Karen Aspey having a very successful
That's
game,
more broom than Belinda.
finding that tee
Your in
weight.
turn, same broom as Belinda.
Okay.
That's just wide. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and that big weight again, if they took a little bit of weight off that stone would have curled more.
What about there?
Give it a chance to curl onto the target.
They've got weight coming.
Okay.
Fine with that.
I thought it would go wide off.
Sure, Carl.
Draw beyond the river.
No, I don't mind that actually.
Yeah?
Okay.
We heard a short discussion there in the British team.
Keep it up.
How should we respond to a mistake from Canada? And again, various options here on the scale of highly defensive to more aggressive.
Both teams okay.
Highly defensive would be to remove that red stone out front. I might do that, but I am from the 1980s. And a kind of middle ground here is to put another yellow into play. But as we saw in the previous end,
13-8.
we're going away from that Canadian guard. We don't really want to give Canada a chance to bring that guard into play. And that is a good throw from Austin McKenzie, asking the question of
I like
Canada.
the same turn.
I'm just going to pull it off.
Are you gonna throw it the same like Max?
Okay? I might.
And Canada also have options now. They could continue with removing yellow stones. And I fancy, yeah, we will see that because it is Britain who have hammer. They have last stone. You can see the little graphic
Yeah.
in this fourth end. And so it's now slightly more important for Canada to play the defensive stuff. Big opportunity here for Britain, though, to switch up the tactics a bit in this game. They have last stone advantage. An early mistake for Canada, from Canada. And if Britain can just keep doing this, they just keep getting a second yellow into play. They are setting themselves up very nicely
13-7.
to go into the halftime break. And that is the most difficult shot in curling, is same again, please. Exactly the same weight, exactly the same line.
I'll tell you what.
And Austin McKenzie has done that
Do
beautifully.
you want to go in out?
A little straighter.
Just straighter this way. I like this turn.
Okay.
9.
Yeah. 875 in it.
Oh, he makes connection with them both. Doesn't quite spring the double, John Thurston. Great attempt from him. Canada always have a lot of fans in the stadium and online.
Don't mind that.
Canadian team's always well supported.
13 and a half.
13 and a half.
And I like to see this from Britain, actually. I'm very conservative because I'm from 1980s and 90s curling.
I think 13's okay as well.
Those two reds quite dangerous. You can
14's
see how
okay.
close they are to the rings. Wouldn't take much to just punch them forward. So good for you, Britain. But you're not being defensive. You're putting more stones in play. Let's get another yellow in there. That puts the pressure on Canada. That's the more aggressive call. It is higher risk. That means if it goes wrong, those reds are dangerous for Canada to use. So good for you, Britain. But you're backing yourself to say, no, we're going to get a second yellow in.
3 3/4, 12-4.
And yeah, he could do with just making a connection with his own yellow there. That was maybe travelling on a little bit too fast, but just using his own stone there as a bit of a break.
8.
And very nice second shot in for Great Britain.
Right on the beak.
Oh, this is always so satisfying. If you have last stone and your opposition has to hit guards, then you know you're doing it right. Yeah, coaching bench from Britain looking very satisfied with this fourth end, rightly so. John Thurston removing one of those guards out front. Now he can at least see the target. There he goes. Perfect would be if he caught one of those yellows on the way through, but important, he needs a space.
14's okay.
I know we're giving you different connections too, so.
Tiny. Yeah.
Great opportunity for third thrower Stuart Pimblett to really put pressure on Canada now.
Four and a quarter, 13-6.
Good.
This is very nice again. That is a wonderful throw from him. He is happy if that stone stops just a little bit before the other two yellows.
Out-turn.
As we've said,
Out-turn.
the closer the stones are together, the easier it is to remove them in one throw. So he's happy, yeah. Big smile from him in the background there. He is happy to keep that stone just in front of the other two yellows.
3/4 low.
Yeah.
You like that ice?
Yeah.
Doesn't that look nice if you're a British fan?
875.
Yeah.
Skip stones then in the fourth end before we shall have a half-time break.
Center, center. Weight's okay though.
That's a great shot from Mark Idison. He's always there. Those stones quite close together and at just the right angle. Catching the inside of the first stone, springing across to the second.
This way.
Can you see
See
that?
ya. See half of it.
See maybe 2/3 from the 18-inch.
That's a fine shot for Mark Idison, really getting his team out of trouble there.
It's like my nose is yellow. My nose. My nose is yellow.
Nose is yellow.
Yeah.
I like that.
But this way.
I think if you use your own yellow here in this shot, you have a better chance of having 2 yellows lying around at the end of it.
So
9.
9. Yeah.
Nice shot, Mark.
right.
Good.
Cheers, good.
Deep breath, Uniblo.
Sorry, I slipped.
Oh, that's a pity. He says he slipped. And that's going off the line. Oh, he nearly got a cheeky bonus there. So he had the right weight, but you heard Uniblo saying, yeah, just slipped a little bit in his delivery.
Higher though,
Oh,
right?
she nearly got it the cheeky way.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Like that?
The other option is we hit the open.
The open yellow one?
You should absolutely hit the open
What do
yellow
you
hand
like?
up.
That's probably a simple one.
That's one. I mean, it's in.
Hit the open one, but if you're feeling draw weight, I really like this.
Okay.
I like that.
You just have to be on high side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can be down
I'm
to
good.
the yellow as long as you stay that side of it too.
Yeah, stay high side.
Edge of 12?
Yeah, I would be doing something about that yellow. It's too dangerous to leave it lying around.
Yeah, I like 4.
Brave call then from Canada. They're not throwing too much weight at this.
Center full.
You don't put the brush down where you want the stone to end up. You put the brush down to aim for. And then brush plus curl
Very good,
equals
Mark.
target.
One on the straight double.
Yeah.
Who's next?
No. I also said all right.
Yeah, for once I would have liked to see more weight from Canada at that stone.
9.
Nice and smooth.
And Hugh Nibble then,
Set that shoulder.
you can see both of those reds. He does have a chance to remove them both with one stone. Double takeout. What a boost that would be for his team.
A lot back. Too much. Tiny.
Yeah. You
Good.
go.
Everybody's silent, holding their breath. Oh, so close.
9-6.
Uniblo. A super attempt. But it will be one red finally. But keep doing that, Great Britain. You'll get your chance. Canada, yeah, they can breathe a bit of a sigh of relief there. It is a steal to them. They get a point, even though they didn't have last stone. Phew, and that's how we go into the half-time break after 4 ends. It is Canada 2, Great Britain 1. Time for the fans to go and get a drink. Stretch their legs a bit.
Hits are probably easier right now, just to read.
Both teams have a chance to sit together with their coaches.
We're making the chances.
Let's see what they're saying.
Yeah, let me go. Be quick, Kate.
Yeah, well.
Sure.
Story of the first half then. Cagey stuff. Both teams being conservative. A couple of chances to play the more aggressive tactic. I'd like to start with though. Yeah, some nice takeouts, some nice offensive work from both teams. Neither team willing to make the aggressive call yet. That shows the kind of respect they have for each other. Bit of a mistake from Canada to give a steal, give 1 point to Britain. Seen a lot of takeouts in this game because it's the defensive strategy, conservative approach. Canada, though, hitting and sticking in the house in the third end to level the score. And then early mistake from Canada, meaning Britain had a nice setup here in this fourth end. Some really nice play from all the players. A really good effort from Niblo. Remember, again, he doesn't have sweepers to try to help there. This is still with 1 red. But there's the overall game. And look at that accuracy with the draws for Great Britain. That's where they need to keep attacking. That's what's going to win them a game. Really good stuff from them. Yeah, they really picked themselves up in that fourth end, Great Britain. But this game finally poised.
Excuse me, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great to see all the fans enjoying this wonderful stadium. The 1956 Olympic Winter Games it was built for. We were skating in the stadium in those days, but curling has well and truly made this stadium our home. There it is. It really is a jewel in the crown. Up in Cortina, up in the mountains, in the Dolomites. There may still be a couple of tickets left if you can come join us.
Keep up with that, and I think from the throwing end, just make those decisions as to what side towards your trends, like towards trend tendencies and stuff. Right?
The official there just holding up the 1 minute warning. You see the teams coming back out on ice. A very interesting situation then at half-time. Very conservative approach. Neither team wanting to take the risk of being aggressive. I think that will change now in the second half. It was Britain starting to make the move in that direction. And if they keep doing that, they will get chances to score points here. But really, either team could certainly get the win here. Both teams playing really nice stuff out there. Fans are back in their seats. Teams are ready to play. The hammer, we can see from our little graphic. Hammer is with Great Britain. It was Canada who picked up a point in the fourth end. That means last stone. The hammer is with Britain in the fifth end. A valiant attempt. Also with hammer in the fourth end, Britain. A valiant attempt to start getting things more aggressive, get some points. What shall we see in this fifth end?
3.
Conservative start from Canada again. Just put a stone in the house, see what Britain does. Got the stone this time quite far back from the tee line, and that gives Karen Aspey, and look at those stats, 85% on her draws. We've been seeing her just drop stones into the house time after time. Lovely smooth action. I think it's worth pointing out though that is another added degree of difficulty for a wheelchair curler. If you're a foot curler, and you drive out of the hack, you have your leg drive. And yeah, I've got just about 3 or 4 seconds to adjust things. If I've kicked out too hard, I can slow it down a bit, or if I haven't kicked out hard enough, I can give it a bit of a push. But you can't adjust your delivery if you're in a wheelchair game. It's that one smooth release of the stone, that's it. You don't have a chance to adjust, and that also increases the degree of difficulty for these players. Colinda Joseph also having a lovely game. She and Karen Aspey having a great battle at league throw. Oh, that is just creeping in to the front there.
Biter, yeah.
It is a biter. That means
like
we talk
14.
about the stone just biting the rings.
975.
975.
And because that stone is touching the rings just a little bit, that means it's not protected by free guard zone. And that means that Karen Aspey, she can try to remove it.
Tiny. Yeah. Oh, wasn't pretty. Close.
So says Uniblow.
3 3/4.
That looks perfect. Oh, she got the pair of them.
Nice, Karen.
Goodness me. Karen Aspey having a super game in this round.
Out, I think, so we gotta come around. 3-5.
3-5.
Ina Forrest then, she is about to throw stone number 5, so free guard zone is still active.
Sorry.
Canada not allowed to remove yellow guards yet.
3-5.
And the free guard zone, again, it just prevents teams getting too defensive. So removing stones is a defensive strategy. Free guard zone says, no, you're not allowed to remove guards. Both of those yellows still protected by free guard zone. On this shot by Ina Forrest. In the old days, you would surely have seen the Canadians just remove at least that stone in the centre, the one just indicated by Hugh Niblo. We used to have 4 rock free guard zone.
12.
And that was becoming too defensive. Now we have 5 rock free guard zone, so Ina Forrest not allowed to remove either of those yellows and just popping a stone in behind one. So as we thought, already in this 5th end in the second half, already a much more aggressive setup.
Front left. Yeah.
And look at those stats for Austin McKenzie as well. This is really where Britain needs to keep attacking. It's those draw shots, it's that accuracy that they need to rely on to win them this game. Austin McKenzie saying he thought this was running light. I think it's okay. It's overcurled a little bit, but yeah, that's fine too. The way it was absolutely perfect. That is a lovely throw from him. Good positive body language from the British team.
Same weight, Mark?
settle down a little bit like
2 feet less. Top button bullseye here.
As we said, the weight was perfect. The stone just over curling, but
Be
gets to
down
the same
2,
result.
it's ideal, but a foot short of it's fine.
Yeah, I think top 8 plays 2 feet less.
Good line, eh?
Diana Forrest in her 5th Paralympic Winter Games. Can't be too many Paralympians who have been to 5 editions, and I'm showing us exactly why. That is a super shot. The Canadian fans really appreciating that one. Well, isn't this a bit of a switch in tactics compared to the first half of the game? Just as we thought. We have 8 ends. The score is 2-1, so there are 4 ends left. There are 4 last shot advantages. So we need to see the team start trying to use that last stone advantage, try to get a couple of points on the board. That is a fine throw from Austin McKenzie. And springs out 2 reds and leaves himself lying 2 yellow. Good stuff from him.
That was looking so nice. Pardon me?
1, 2 reds flying out. And that yellow in the middle just holding on.
Just pretty much edge on edge, yeah.
A little bit of danger then building for Canada. Britain have 2 yellow points currently in the rings. And it's Britain who have last stone. So a little bit of danger building for Canada. How will they neutralise it? Remember, there's 2 ways of neutralising an attack. You can either remove the stones, that's the defensive idea. No stones equals no points. And that's what we're seeing here. The other way is to attack better. And that would mean, for example, you put your stone in behind the guard right in the centre. So John Thurston aiming for both, a hit and roll. He removes the yellow. He would love to roll just 1 stone further across and he would be in behind the guard, but first things first, that's a good throw from him.
I was thinking of asking, like, was it Dan? Was it
Good. We're good. Good.
Stuart Pimblett having a super game. Look at those percentages. There are plenty of foot players who have their sweepers to help. Their power comes from leg drive. They can adjust their delivery and they would love to be as accurate as that. Overcurls a bit there, Stuart Pimblett's stone. He's removed that centre yellow, and that's not too bad. A nice open house is good for Britain.
Nose.
But that does mean that Canada have the opportunity to remove the remaining British stone in the rings. And then let's see what Britain will do.
Max.
This is that spot.
8-9.
Again, Canada throwing quite a high weight at that. And if you're going to throw a lot of weight, you need to be accurate or your stone will roll out.
Like, I like the flow out of my hands.
Really wanted that red to hang around. 2 reds puts a lot more pressure on Britain than just 1.
Good.
He's done it twice.
Foul line.
Fairly heavy as well. He was maybe concerned that his first shot over curled a bit, and maybe throwing that one a bit harder.
There, Mark.
The faster the stone's traveling, the less it will curl on the vertical. That's a nice solid throw from Stuart Pimblett.
Like that, Ice?
Hits the red stone, sticks the yellow.
Ice and smooth and get the body going straight. Really good job. If it rolls out here, then they just go round. If it rolls out here, they just go round.
Center solid.
Ooh, that's dangerously close to the guard out front, but doesn't quite make it in behind. Britain will still be able to see that red.
It's like it's coming at Max for him, but I feel like he's getting over this.
Nice throw, Mark.
I said in the first half that if you have last stone, typically at this level, you won't get too many misses from your opposition at this level. So typically, with your one last stone, you can score 1 point with that one last stone, kind of whenever you want. But if you only do that, you will end up with a score of 4 each after 8 ends.
Good.
Therefore, at some point, you need to mix it up a bit. You want to try to use your last stone advantage to set yourself up to score 2 or more points. I'm not sure Britain are going to have a chance to do that in this end anymore, though. A couple of stones hitting and rolling out instead of hitting and sticking. And that stone over curling for Hugh Niblo.
I like that. 10-4. You guys like that? Just
Yeah, new path.
Middle 8?
Yeah, edge 4.
Yeah, edge of 4, I think.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Enough?
Yeah. Lots.
What's your weight?
I'm thinking 3-2.
Okay, like it.
Yeah, I just like this fighting to you over here.
Probably like a 2-1-5.
Pardon me?
Canada don't intend to or expect to score points here. What they will do is put another red into play. Remember, Canada, they're 2-1 ahead, they're +1. If they just put a second red into play, what they're trying to do is simply force the issue. That's a great throw from the Canadian skip. A double takeout possible if your life depends on it, but I would not attempt that at this point.
Yeah.
And
Hit and roll.
that's exactly what Canada wanted.
On this!
Hit and roll.
Hit and roll on this or this!
Fucking hell. Off the top one.
What Canada's done there is just
You
force the
stand
issue.
8 foot!
Yeah.
They assume that, yeah, with two
Off
reds
the nuts. One last
well
time.
separated like that, they're kind of forcing
Got to stay in the
the British team to pick up a point. And that looks like Edward and Sophie, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, come to support the team today.
Love it! Good!
Cheers, dudes.
Good!
Mr. Mackenzie saying he likes this one, looks good to him.
3, 9, 6.
Oh, he has got both of them. That was not easy at all. He didn't need to, but Lovely throw from Funebro. That will give him confidence. Very nice. And that is then a score of 1 to Great Britain. Still so close this game after 5 ends. It's 2 each. We definitely saw a bit of a switch in tactics in this 5th end. More stones in play from both teams. Some nice throwing, some nice draws, getting stones in the house, in the rings, trying to set up some points. But finally, it was Canada, we call that forcing Britain to take a point. Very difficult for Britain to remove both reds and blank the end, get 0 on purpose. So with 3 ends to play then, still anybody's game here in this intriguing match up in session 3. It's Canada 2, Great Britain 2. Importantly though, here in the 6th end, that little hammer in the graphic, that's now with Canada, and that's why Canada will be pleased with the outcome in that 5th end. They kind of, you say, they forced Britain to take 1 point, knowing that they get the hammer back again for the loss of only 1 point. And we said that 1 point with your 1 last stone, it's kind of like a default.
3-0, 3-2.
At some point, you have to make more than 1 point to win the game. Look at that. Nobody has scored more than 1 point.
So
It looks like
3-2?
Yep. A binary code at the moment. Quite often though, in an 8-end game, you quite often see some fireworks in the 6th end. That is often the time that a team really makes a move. Is that going to hang? Oh, it's not. Shoot. You can see a thin strip of white there. Frustration for Kalinda Joseph. Just wanted that red to hang around. Fine throw from Karen Aspey. And she's now given herself a super chance to take advantage of that. Her first throw protected by free guard zone. Not allowed to go out of play. That is fine work from Karen Aspey. Her first throw there at the top of our screen, protected by free guard zone. Her second throw, wrapping it right round the back. Curl, 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 curl. And it's bang on the 4-foot, the green circle. That really asks the question of Canada. That's super beginning for Great Britain in the 6th end.
That's okay. Thanks, John.
Well,
Flat spot.
Belinda Joseph and Karen Aspey at lead. I think a super battle between the two of them. That can be a helpful way of thinking of a game. You have your own personal battle with your opposition. Oh, that ended up nicely there. That was the stone that we said was protected by a free guard zone. If that yellow had somehow gone out of play, we would have seen it replaced. So you can move it around, but you can't move it out of play. And there, it's ended up just underneath Hugh Niblow's brush there. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it wasn't quite getting out.
It was a river.
That wasn't setting.
The river. I could tell a river. I could tell a river.
Good.
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 It's Canada with last stone in the 6th end, and it is Britain
2 3/4, 14-3.
who are really asking the question of them. Piling yellow stones in the house, blocking that centre path,
10.
neutralising the Canadian attack
Yeah, you open
by
the guard
attacking
up.
better.
That's fine.
Nice shot, Ina.
They like that already. Ooh, thread that needle. Just picking out the shot. Lovely throw from Ina Forrest.
Really well thrown.
That's it, though. Yeah.
9-4.
Another good opportunity to point out that
13.5.
Ina Forrest snuck her stone through that little gap without any sweepers to help guide that stone. Look at that. Straight through the middle. Picks out the shot. Very nice from her.
Good.
Now, if Britain wanted to switch to a more defensive strategy in the 6th end, remember they don't have the last stone advantage. Now is the time to do it, but again, good for you, Britain.
13-2. Great shot. Great shot.
They are neutralising attack with more attack. And that is a wonderful throw from Austin McKenzie.
Same weight, aye? Okay.
Courageous calls here from Britain. The other option is the defensive strategy. That would be to remove the guards out front.
Should finish a little more on this side of the.
And hats off to you, Britain. Canada not having chance to build points for their last stone advantage, while this attack from the British team, this aggressive stuff from them, is working so nicely. Good for you, Britain. And a rare miss from Ina Forrest.
At 9-7.
Bearing fruit for this British team.
14.
Aggressive strategy always. High risk, high reward. Britain took that risk, good for them. And now, can they build themselves a reward?
Tiny. Yeah.
He's good.
Maybe wonder how we know the stats, how we know the percentage of shots for the players. Well, each shot, well, the whole game has a statistician watching each shot. And each shot is marked out of 4. And if you make it exactly as asked, you will get 4 out of 4 points.
Yes.
I would give that stone from Stuart Pimblett 4 out of 4 points.
Normal?
If it's pretty close,
What are you thinking for weight?
you would give it 3 out of 4.
Yeah, normal's fine.
If
8.5, 9.
half and half, so maybe you
8.5,
wanted to
John.
hit and roll, but you hit and stick, or vice versa, you could get 50%. And if it helps a little bit, but not too much,
You like the broom?
you would get 1 out of 4 and
Yeah.
get 25%. And over the course of a game, that's how we calculate the statistics for each player, the statistics accuracy. Don't be fooled though, viewer, as we said, every stone in wheelchair curling
Or nothing.
has a higher degree of difficulty than the equivalent in foot curling. Ew. That is an oopsie from John Thurston.
Straight.
Straight spot.
Wow.
The silver lining, if you're a Canadian fan,
This thing where, like,
Canada does have last stone. They will have final say in the 6th end. Everything coming up Britain at this point.
Good.
Cheers, good.
And this man in front of us, Stuart Pimblett, the whole team's been playing very nicely. Stuart Pimblett, so steady at third throw. Similar idea, I think, being asked for.
3 3/4, 14.5.
This is a lovely setup for Britain. A stone right on the Paralympic Winter Games logo. 2 yellows blocking out front. And for a bonus, 2 more yellows just hanging around.
You don't like... Mark, do you
That
like the
12-foot
run on
circle,
this
the blue
side?
one.
I think we got to open it up.
Okay.
You do have to open this up.
8.
Those yellows out front, though, they are angled quite kindly for Canada. Definitely possible to remove both of them in one throw here. Big push from John Thurston. He's got 1, that's fine. It's made it slightly better. I don't expect those yellows hanging around away from the centre. I don't expect them to be important at the conclusion of the end.
It's on 2.
He's really only made it slightly better with that throw, John Thurston. Still quite a lot of work to do for Canada. Good news for British fans. But a lot of pressure on these final stones in the 6th end for Canada.
Too much.
5 up more. Smooth, yeah.
14 and a half.
Higher, he's okay.
15's okay.
I think that's okay, Stuart.
No.
I think that's okay. I think that'll finish outside the circle line.
Okay.
Hugh Niblo, this is his 3rd Paralympic Winter Games. Finishing 7th and 8th at Pyeongchang and Beijing respectively. I'd love to just start pushing towards semi-finals and medal games. It's always inscrutable, Hugh Niblo.
4 1/4, 14-2.
This looks lovely. Wowzers. A hat full of yellows facing Canada.
I think slashing one of those. It's pretty straight here.
If you're a Canadian fan, don't worry. There's still plenty of space and Canada have last stone, but certainly plenty of danger. If Look at that.
Do you rock on the center? Do you want the rock on the center? The same side?
Just trying to.
Attack, very much the best form of defence for this British team in the 6th end.
Are you thinking no?
Putting Canada under all sorts of pressure here.
Just running straight there, right?
Yeah, right where the broom is.
Yeah.
I think even if you hit thin, like the double peels there.
This is quad bomb.
Mark Idison, tons of experience at this level. But a pressure shot is a pressure shot. It never gets easy.
Center, center.
And that's fine. Moved both of the yellows out front there.
You got 3.
Managed to spin himself a little
14
bit
and a half.
away from that centre line.
This has been a fast
Not exactly what they wanted. I would give that maybe 3 out of 4 because he did clear both those yellow guards.
Edge less. Less.
And as you can see, yeah, we can see all of that yellow now in the centre.
Tiny. Good.
Super end for Great Britain though in the 6th end. Perfect setup from Karen Aspey and her teammates building on that.
Not far away.
Not far away, says Austin McKenzie. The line is important here. He doesn't mind if it's a bit closer to the house, a bit further away.
16-2.
Yeah, the line is essential and he's got that just beautifully. Smack in front of the yellow, right on the pot lid. And indeed we see Canada realising, yeah, there's no way.
Probably a touch more.
There's no way through to that yellow at weight. We're going to have to
13 and a quarter.
13 and a quarter.
play kind of a running draw, so they want it just a little bit heavier than a stone that would land on the tee. They need to just punch that yellow back. And it's a very difficult shot. They need enough weight to push the yellow, but not too much that it doesn't curl enough. The faster the stone's going, the less it will curl. This is a huge shot for Mark Idison. This needs to curl. This needs to curl. Oh boy. Is it going to get there? It's not going to curl enough, I don't think. But that is a very excellent throw under all kinds of pressure. If that throw had gone wrong, there were 4 yellows waiting to pick up points. So a very good effort from Mark Idison, but what an end from Great Britain. 8 out of 8 stones. And a stolen point for them. Yeah, that red not able to curl. Weight was pretty good, but not able to curl. And that is a stolen point for Great Britain. They get a point without last stone. They'll be delighted with that 6th end. It is Britain that lead Canada 3 points to 2. Things getting a lot more aggressive at the business end of this game. Mark Idison forced into such a clutch shot. If this stone had gone wrong, it was all but a match point. Cutting down a score of 4-1, but it's still a steal to Britain. They lead 3 points to 2. What a tight game. Neither team able to score more than 1 point at the moment. Score looking like a binary code. British fans in the house, they'll be delighted. Britain have teams in the 4-person wheelchair event here, and Britain also have a team in the mixed doubles. Canada don't. That's how tough the qualification is for wheelchair curling these days. Just being here at these Paralympic Winter Games is truly an achievement for all the curlers out there, either in four-person or mixed doubles.
Good.
And Karen Aspey has got that weight in her pocket. That is a super start. I'm sure the coaches, they'll be just thinking stone by stone. That was a great sixth end from Britain, but we still have 2 ends to play, the 7th here, and 1 more after that. And look at that. Colinda Joseph, not really having a bad game, but Karen Aspey just having the game of her life out there. She cannot miss. That is a good shot from Colinda. It's not in the rings, but what's important, this is exactly what her team asked for. It's important that it's protected by free guard zone. If it was in the rings, Britain would be allowed to remove that stone. But it's protected by free guard zone, and that's why her teammates are happy with that.
Good. Good.
The Canadian team have never failed to medal. They have played at every Paralympic Winter Games since the introduction of wheelchair curling in 2006. That was in Torino, also in Italy. They have played at every single event. They have won a medal every single time. And the British team, they have also played
We can go in, yeah.
at every Paralympic wheelchair curling event, the 4-person discipline. The Great British team, they won a silver at the very first event in 2006. They won a bronze in Sochi in 2014. It was very solid, but they would love to just take that step up, get to semi-finals, really be pushing for medals each time.
That's gone, I think.
And the fans will be delighted with the session they've joined this morning. Ooh, that's a rough miss for Colinda Joseph, though.
4, 3's okay. 4's okay. 14.
And this is starting to look familiar. Karen Aspey setting up the end. And then really up to how Canada plays. That will dictate the kind of shot that her teammates should be playing from there, but she's been setting up the ends just beautifully. It's starting to look familiar. So really 8 out of 8 stones from Britain in the 6th end. They will be looking for similar consistency here.
13-7.
A throw from Austin McKenzie, just running on a little bit. But yeah, also as a plan B, that's far from bad. It is Canada who are 1 point behind. And yeah, Canada still just ignoring all those stones in the centre. What they're trying to do is use that red guard thrown by Colinda Joseph with her first stone. If they can get a red in behind that guard, a red in behind cover. Oh no, my mistake. They are trying to do that the other way, which is a hit and roll. So decent result for Ina Forrest. She moves 1 of the yellows. The other 2 behind T-line, and I think that's about as central of a stone as we've seen in this competition. nailing that first one.
There's no action.
Sticking herself, yeah, the red was always pretty safe from rolling out itself there. And let's think about objectives for the 7th end. That will guide us on the tactics of each team here. So it's easier to start with Great Britain playing yellow. So if you're Great Britain, what would you like to happen? What would be your objectives for this 7th end? Well, it's Canada who has last stone. So if you can limit Canada to scoring simply 1 point with their one last stone, that would make the overall score 3 each, but you would have last stone advantage in the 8th end. So that's a pretty good result for you. If it goes similarly to the 6th end, and if Britain would score 1 yellow, steal 1 yellow, then you would be +2 points. And you wouldn't have last stone advantage, the hammer in the 8th end, but you would have a cushion of 2 points. And even if Canada somehow could score 2 here, 2 red points, that would make the overall score 4-3 to Canada, but Britain would have that last stone advantage in the 8th end. So a few choices for Great Britain. I think probably what they would like is if Canada score 1. So this is one of those ends. This happens quite a lot in curling. Giving a score of 1 to your opposition is a good result for you. And I think this is one of those ends. But that was a fine throw from Ina Forrest. And the momentum starting to shift a little bit.
I like a 9, yeah.
Moving 2 yellows and rolling into it.
Yeah, are you all right with that?
Nice spot herself.
Yeah, nose gets them both. Don't force it.
Hugh Niblo absolutely right. He's saying if you hit that front red on the nose, right in the middle, then both reds will spring out either side.
Front left.
And Stuart Pimblett
Yeah.
can get this shot perfectly. He will be giving his team a big boost to achieving objectives in the 7th end.
Close. Maybe a wee bit.
Niblo saying it's close.
3 1/4, 8-8.
Just like that. Stuart Pimblett, don't be fooled by the percentage, guys. Stuart Pimblett is having a wonderful game, so steady at third throw. Before, after. What a throw from Stuart Pimblett. He'll be delighted, his team will be delighted. You go ahead and have a big smile to yourself, sir. He removes both the Canadian counters and leaves himself lying around. And again, the 7th end taking shape a lot like the 6th. That is another fine throw, though. A great response from from the Canadian, John Thurston. That is exactly why Colin de Joseph put that guard there in the first place. So you can play a double takeout, I can play a double takeout. And importantly, that red rolling to our left, and it's now in behind cover. Stuart Pimblett suggesting a timeout, maybe. And yes, they have. Hugh Niblo holding his hands in a T above his head. Both teams have a 1-minute timeout. Their coach can come join them on the ice, discuss the situation, give some advice. So we shall see British coach coming for a confab.
I don't know.
That's why
A little bump round.
So the minute doesn't start until the coach arrives.
That's for sure.
You can see
I like the draw.
my rider approaching. Let's see what he says.
We just make the draw.
Oh, wait. Well, that's look. If it come on and off, well, sure. I don't want it to come on and off. I'm saying that's plan B.
Yep. Yeah, I think we make the draw, and if we're like just in front of it under the guard, that's okay. The only thing I'm a little bit scared of is if we max ice and we come up top 8, they make the hit and roll like 2 under the corner.
Yeah, no, we've got to get close to
Try and
the
bump it.
See, even to be honest, even if you come and you bump it and roll off, it's not terrible. If he nuts it, then you've
So
got
just
a
back
hit and roll.
enough over that.
You can put a guard on that.
Yeah.
Yep. Just top 8.
What weight are you thinking?
13.5.
13.5.
13.5, 13.7.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make it good.
13.5.
Let's go, Stuart. You've got this, mate.
Go on, Shree.
1 minute coach interaction is concluded. Very productive there. You heard the team just discussing a couple of options. You also heard them discussing not only if we do this, then we expect Canada to do that. So yeah, good job from Niall Ryder there, the team coach. The team thinking all the way to the conclusion of the 7th end
13.5.
with objectives in mind. Remember, 1 point to Canada, that's fine for Britain. They don't mind that at all, so they don't need to go all out to try to remove that red stone. They just want to keep things under control, try to make sure Canada has no opportunity to score any more than 1 point. And that's what this is about. Stuart Pimblett, as we heard from the coach, just aiming to land up close to that red. They said they don't mind if it touches, it's not going to touch though. Oh, and that is unfortunate. He was close to doing one or the other, either just connecting slightly with the red, and he would just punch it out of contention, or land it in the 8-foot circle yourself, the white one.
13.
But unfortunately,
3-2.
3-0.
well, unfortunately for British fans, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh included, has handed a little bit of an advantage to Canada.
I should throw from the other side.
Pardon me?
You throw from the other side.
Okay.
Because then I'm throwing back through the suit.
Yeah. Good call.
He also said, not the end of the world, even if Canada scored 2 points here. That would make the overall score 4-2 going into the last end. Sorry, it's 4-3 going into the last end, but it would be the British team who has last stone advantage. So not the end of the world if Canada scored 2. Britain really doesn't want Canada to score any more than that. Oh, is this coming up short though? They may have another chance, Great Britain.
Thought that was all there.
That is a pity for John Thurston. They maybe haven't played too much on that side of the sheet. And that may be just catching him out a little bit. Yeah, all the stones playing right to left as we look at it. And maybe just a slightly colder piece of ice. A path less travelled, and that's a pity for John Thurston. Good battle at all the positions.
Tiny.
Mark Idison ever so slightly higher in the accuracy than Hugh Niblo, but Hugh Niblo making some real clutch shots as well. Another chance then. Same idea that they discussed with their coach now, Ryder. He was stopping as well, though, or connecting. It has done exactly the same. Ooh, maybe some nerves creeping in to both sides.
Well, you, yeah.
Great Britain overthrowing
buried,
those
but
two
I agree. We'll
stones,
take a
Canada
little more ice
underthrowing,
here now.
and coach Niall Ryder must be saying, come on guys,
You're still going under that corner?
deep breath, stay
Do you
calm.
want the rock on the center?
I think we'll go.
Okay.
What do you think?
You like that ice?
I think it's still 13-2. What'd you get on John's? Was 4-5?
I have 4.
Yeah. So you like 13-2?
Yeah, I like it. You guys like
I
that?
get the feeling whoever meets their objectives in the 7th end will be taking good confidence into the 8th end. This game could not be any closer.
You're a little bit over center, so it'll probably run center before it goes off.
Another chance for Canada then to get a second red into play. Is that going to stop though? Has he overcorrected? Oh, that is another. Yeah, he's overcorrected that, Mark Idison. That is a mistake there. He needed that to be better than the yellows.
2, 3.
Yeah, same shot then.
Yeah.
Exactly, yes. Same shot, please.
You want the same weight, less ice.
I like same weight, less ice, yeah.
I got 12 more in yours.
Okay.
And you have room.
Okay.
Do you want less ice, same weight?
Okay. Go center.
Or that shot's full.
I think that's a good suggestion from Austin McKenzie. Remember, the brush position plus curl equals target at the end.
Cheers, good.
Austin McKenzie then just suggesting, why don't I take a little bit less ice? So he's going to move the brush towards the other stone slightly, and a similar kind of weight from Huneblo. If he can neutralise this red completely, they will be delighted. Oh, this looks lovely. This looks lovely. That is a super shot from him. Phew, got there in the end. Maybe a little bit of nerves creeping in with both teams, but this is exactly what the coach suggested all along.
Seeing this turn?
Very difficult to
Which turn do
remove
you
that
see
yellow displayed by Huneblo. Very difficult for Canada to score 2 here, and indeed they're not even going to try scoring 2. Sometimes you just have to
Hasn't been
accept
played
it.
on this
Yep,
side, isn't it?
that was a perfect throw from Huneblo,
But I still think it's a 2-2.
and it is Mark
Same feels your
Idison
last one.
drawing for a single point here.
Last draw on the other end.
He's been keeping his team in this game very nicely. Mark Idison drawing against 4 in the previous end.
13-7.
This looks very nice.
Ah,
Oh, keep going, keep going.
got into that soup.
If I could have given him a couple of sweepers,
One
he would
yellow.
surely have
One yellow.
pulled that a bit further. That increased degree of difficulty just catching Mark Idison out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it will be Britain who are definitely the more buoyant after that 7th end. It is another steal of 1 point. Britain getting a point even though they didn't have last stone.
I just had 3-5 on that and 12-5.
And after 7 ends then, here's the scores. Another stolen point to Great Britain. They're starting to creep ahead. It is 4-2 to Britain after 7. Intriguing end here, the 7th end. Many more stones in play. Look at that, though. All but neutralising Canada's attack on his own. Stuart Pimblett, a couple of mistakes then, though, starting to creep in, and Mark Idison just coming up slightly short. Yeah, he's frustrated with that. That hands a stolen point to Britain.
Good.
That is the situation. Look at the score behind the players there. Just a series of 1s and 0s. That tells us how tight this game is, how close these teams are. Who can hold their nerve and get this over the line? Objectives in this 8th end.
3, 12, 6.
It's great, Karen.
Well, the objectives themselves are pretty straightforward. Canada, they need to score 2 just to keep the game going. If Canada can score 2 here in this 8th end, we will have an extra end to decide a winner. That is their absolute minimum here. So Great Britain's objective is simply the reverse. They simply wish to make sure Canada has no opportunity to score 2 points. And as we've discussed, there's a couple of ways of doing that. You can minimise your opposition's scoring opportunity by removing stones, or you can minimise your opposition's scoring opportunity by getting there first. Karen Aspey continuing her superb game out there.
13 and a half.
Good.
Final throw of regulation time for Karen Aspey. Will it be her final throw of this game? Let's see.
3 3/4, 13.
She has hardly put a stone wrong, Karen Aspey. And for an encore, I'm going to cover the hole.
All right, straight on it.
So,
Well,
3
take
and
a
a
bow,
half.
Karen Aspey.
13 and a half.
She has been
So
absolutely
you're 4-4.
integral
How far out is
in
that?
giving Britain this 2-point lead.
5 feet.
Yeah, yeah, so I like
If you
that.
play lead thrower at your club and you feel like, oh, you know, it doesn't really matter. Well, look at Karen Aspey. If you want any evidence that the lead player absolutely influences the game, making her teammates' lives so much easier by getting her stones in exactly the right positions. And I think this is a wise idea. Canada just ignoring both of those stones and making sure they have a stone away from centre. So this is the classic tactic if you're a couple of points down and you need to score 2.
14 and a half.
Play that corner guard, protected by free guard zone, then you wrap a stone round the back. Linda Joseph has done exactly that. She has also done everything that has been asked of her in this 8th end. But you really need to have courage for this, because you know that you are going to be looking at 3 opposition stones on the centre line by the time your second player is coming to throw. But this is the best way to try to build 2 points here.
Two and 3/4, 15-2.
That is nice from Austin McKenzie, very nice. Right, Canada, you have point number 2
It's like
on the right of our screen.
11 and a half, Ian.
11 and a half. Okay.
You really ran straight here last time.
How are they going to get point number 1? Now they need to attack the middle.
Your 9-4 ran pretty straight on this.
Yeah,
track.
it ran really straight.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I was just looking back.
They have a red towards the side of the sheet there. They will be expecting or hoping that that will count as point number 2 at the conclusion of this 8th end. And now we will see the teams battle it out in the centre. Canada trying to clear some space, give themselves a chance to get a point at the centre. That's nice from Ina Forrest, but again, that lovely placement from Karen Aspey at the beginning of this end means that Ina Forrest not able to remove both at once.
10-6.
A nice throw from Ina Forrest. I'm not sure she could have done too much more. Her own stone hangs around, and that could be important later.
14's okay.
14's okay.
And Great Britain taking a deep breath and really committing to this strategy now. 2 ways to neutralise your opposition. One is to defend, just remove their stones. The other is to attack better than them. That's the higher risk strategy, but it has really been working for Britain, and I think they're sensible to keep doing this. They just keep piling yellows towards the centre. If Canada even wants to score 1 point, they have to do something about all those yellows.
3 1/4. 12-8.
This needs to stop though. This needs to stop. That is fine. That was a gutsy call from Britain and a worthy result for Austin McKenzie.
How much do you have? What? How much do you have?
3/4.
Like 10?
10? So I 10-6, you said before?
10-6 in your last one.
That was the point. If Britain wished to change strategy, if Britain wanted to try to counter Canada's attack by removing stones, that was the point to do it, but they are now really fully committed to the aggressive approach. They have a guard out front, they have 2 yellows in behind it. That is how they will try to stop Canada scoring 2 or more points.
Get there, get there, get there. Nice shot, Ina.
Get there, Ina. Oh, similar kind of result though for Ina Forrest. She removes 1, but quite difficult to remove 2, both of them, with the angles the way they were.
9-5. 9-5.
Yeah, having said attack is the best form of defence, that red is too dangerous to hang around. So 1 yellow being removed by Ina Forrest. Her own stone hanging around. It is too dangerous to leave it. What important with this shot is not only removing the red, it is vital that this yellow sticks around as well. We are countering Canadian attack with yellow stones.
3/3, 10-9.
Ooh, I think that just touched that guard on the way in, didn't it? It looked like it took the tiniest of redirections.
I think we have to hit this one.
I think so too.
Yeah, did it maybe touch that
We
guard
can
on the way
hit
in?
it just high and kick this one over.
Doesn't
just
quite
a
get
bit.
what you wanted there, Stuart Pimblett, but important, as we said, there are now 2 yellows in there, and that really is critical.
I just don't know if we can.
We want to limit Canada's scoring opportunities. It's important that we have yellows clustering around that green 4-foot circle. You can feel the tension out there. The fans really enjoying this session. We're in the 8th end. Will it be the final end? If scores are tied, we will play an extra end to decide a winner. That's a great shot from John Thurston. Really nice throw from him. fans appreciating that very much. And just pops that yellow out, gets a lovely roll. And it is currently Canada lying 2 points that they need. Push this game to an extra end.
Done. Force it.
Keepers 975.
975. Do you say on 9?
975, Spain.
Good.
Good.
6 stones remaining in the 8th end. Every single one vital. If anybody fluffs their shot, could be a game over.
3 3/4, 9-3.
Ever reliable, Stuart Pimblett removing one of the reds. Yes, still.
We just got to move this one here.
Either way, this game could go.
Like
Neither team bench will be relaxing
11?
at all at the moment.
11?
They'll still be fully focused. Canada still has their
From
coach
this side?
interaction if they wish.
Yeah. Let's move that one out here. I don't think I can get it over top. Doesn't look like it from here. And stay.
Well, you can see on the screen it could be a lot of.
There's a 1.5 feet. Good.
We can
I
take
don't think they
timeout
need a
too,
coach
if we
interaction, Canada. I'm saying we have the
Do you like
timeout
the
if we
timeout?
need. Yeah, I don't think they need it. I wouldn't disturb your rhythm.
We do have a timeout.
Yeah, up to you. That's timeout.
Time?
Oh, they are calling a timeout. I thought they were doing the right thing actually and carrying on. Sometimes
Because I don't
a timeout
stay
can
if I get,
more
like, to get it over
disturb
top
your
of the
rhythm.
red, I don't
But
Can
if
be
you're
helpful,
helpful,
but
11, you'll probably.
you just want
Yeah, but
to
the yellow will end up still on
have
the
a bit of a
red.
chat with the coach,
I definitely don't think I sit second.
see what he thinks. The coach
Either that or we go.
has some travelling time. Let's see. There he is on his way in the background. Let's see what he
You
has
don't
to
want to
offer.
give them anything they can double off. Yeah, hard to get.
Oh, you just have to make it.
Yeah.
Playing this hit, I think we just play for nose, like the double attempt jams for them. We're coming around on our next one. Or if you feel like you know the draw well, you can play the interim draw right now. My first instinct is to hit this for one and then go on the attack. If you feel like you know the path well, make that hit and stay. Because if you leave a jam mark behind it and this double jams onto it, it's high enough that you
I
can
like
chase
it.
around it.
I like it.
But I think on your next one you might probably play 9.5, 10 if you wanted to. Like, you know it well with a 9 as well.
Yeah,
So
we can play 9.
what are you eyeing up, John? This is, I think, the dealer's choice for you.
You're seeing same side starting point.
Should be relatively
You
straight.
can start it from center, wherever you got.
No, center's flat. I don't want
Should be
center.
relatively straight here, eh?
So 9.5.
9.5. And like that rock's been under curling, right?
Coach interaction finished. Again, we heard the teams talking about not only this stone, so if we do this stone, here will be the situation for Britain, so we would expect them to do this. Really talking through not only this stone, but the 4 remaining stones afterwards as well. Critical to get this decision right. And now critical
Nice and smooth.
to get the throw good as well.
Good throw.
They like the look of it so far. And I think that was always going to happen. It was hard to curl past enough of the yellow that it wasn't going to just squirt straight back onto the red, but the important part is the following. 1, 2 reds, are currently in scoring position. That's exactly what Canada needed. Doesn't matter too much about what's going on around them.
Say again.
Have you got all the red?
Yeah.
Which red? This one or that one?
One that just played.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see all of it, yeah?
Go for it.
Just asking the throwing end, how much can you see of that stone? Is it hidden behind the guard at all? And Stuart and Karen at the other end saying, no, you can see all of it.
Well, a little bit more. That looked like it's swung.
Just check what he said. He said, do you want a bit more right?
Yeah, automatic clock, yeah.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, smooth chug, yeah?
You can almost get on my clock.
Smooth. Do you want it on the clock?
Up to you.
Like we said, there are
Tiny.
4 stones left now.
Good.
Every single shot is going to have an influence on the outcome here. Canada needing 2 reds to take this game to an extra end. Has it made it around the guard? He has. Oh no, he's made it too much around the guard. Oh, that is a big mistake from Hugh Niblo. Advantage Canada. Oh, look at that. Curled too much around the guard. What an opportunity for Canada here.
Thinking here?
They now have an opportunity to get a 3rd red into play.
13.
Which bullseye?
Not button. Not 4 of those, not button bullseye.
All button.
So much pressure on these final throws here. Well, Mark Idison, huge opportunity to put your team close to at least an extra end, if not more. That looks pretty good. That's a great shot from the Canadian skipper. 1, 2, 3 yellow, excuse me, 3 reds currently lying. Advantage Canada. Britain have used their coach interaction.
More room for leeway of if you finish in here or here.
I like that a lot better. Yeah, I would come on the clockwise handle.
You have to get to here. Anything more for the yellow second. You have to get here to come across.
But finally, it's...
You go for the draw.
Yeah, I don't mind that. He's got a couple of stones to rest on, rather than try to remove them.
13.5.
Yeah, edge 8.
Finally, it's Hugh Niblo that has to throw the stone. We can have all the discussions about all the possibilities, but finally he's the one that has to feel comfortable throwing the stone. And sometimes it really is just a matter of personal preference. There's no right or wrong throw. It's really just what the player is more comfortable throwing based on how they've played today. Sometimes they feel more comfortable throwing a takeout, be hit and stick. Sometimes they feel more comfortable throwing a draw, just directly get the stone to the centre.
Tiny. Good.
Left, smart, left. Just good.
You could cut the tension with a knife. Final throw of the 8th end for Great Britain skip and 3-time Paralympian Hugh Niblo. This must be up though, this must be up. This must be up. It needs to get to 4 foot, it needs to get to 4 foot, it needs to get to 4 foot. Oh, Britain. That is a tragedy for them. Really snatching victory from the jaws of defeat, Canada. Their fans are going wild. I'm not surprised. Wow, what a turnaround in that critical 8th end there. Canada really a bit on the back foot all game. But if we wanted a visual representation of snatching victory from the jaws of defeat, there you are. And what a result for Canada. They take 3 points in that 8th end. They don't need to throw their final stone. They already count 3, and there's the score. Finally, one of the teams breaks the deadlock, and it is Canada, who win 5 points to 4. Here's the story of the game. Pretty steady stuff from the Canadians. Again, don't be fooled by the percentage. All stones in wheelchair curling have a higher degree of difficulty for multiple reasons compared with foot curlers. Hardly surprising that the percentages end up different. The same system used to rate accuracy for foot curlers. And look at that. Superior accuracy all over the shop for the Great Britain team. But just a couple of missed shots in that critical last end. They will need to pick themselves up, Britain. They absolutely had the better of that game all over the shop, and what that tells you with this kind of overview, better accuracy, more stolen ends, more stolen points. What that means is, unfortunately, Canada were making their critical shots. Great Britain missed a couple of important ones. So that's a blow for Britain, but they need to regroup. That's how it affects the overall table. Canada still unbeaten, 2 out of 2. Great Britain playing plenty of good stuff, but not quite getting it over the line. They stay on 1 win. We have 10 teams and plenty of rounds left. We have 12 sessions. Plenty of wins still out there, up for grabs. What a game then. Conservative stuff from both teams in the first half. Starting to get more aggressive in the second. Just kind of nudging each other. Let's test each other out. And after Britain really leading the game the whole way, it was Canada coming in clutch on the 8th end. A couple of keystones from Canada made. Theirs is the win. They go to 2 wins.